division. Dominique, if I said J.J. McCarthy is going to lead the Vikings to the playoffs, do you believe it or not?
Not. I think that they need a lot more from him. I think what happened in this game was impressive team win. You're going to be asking for a lot. This defense has not been as solid as they've been in the past. They showed up against the Lions this game. So I don't know. I have a hard time imagining that if they get to a situation where they put a lot more responsibility on McCarthy, that he's going to be able to do it. And I don't see the defense creating as many explosive plays as they did last season.
Okay, so I love what you said. I will say this about the Vikings. This was the best plan that they have had together. They basically took Detroit's model for winning and used it against them. I mean, they ran for 130 yards on early downs, played physical, which takes the pressure off of McCarthy, and they brought these blitzes to these cross dogs all day, and when the Lions couldn't answer it, they just stayed with physicality, which is not...
This one point is I think sometimes when you have these interdivisional games and there's a top dog in the division, you in that division spend your entire offseason practicing and preparing for that particular game and building your roster for that game. Then you win that game, and then we see them against other teams. They're like, this ain't the same thing. So, I think the Vikings showed up for this incredible game. They'll be good other situations, but I'm not sure they'll execute as well the rest of the season.
Can I say something out loud that I think you know, but sometimes you have to sort of say it to... he's played 3 games in his NFL career. Yes, right? This would be the equivalent. If he hadn't gotten hurt this would be like week 4 of his rookie season as far as how much he's played. Now, I know you can absorb things and all that, not being part of it. But, I mean, this is his coming up will be the 4th game he has played in the NFL.
So the question is, how much better a player is he 7 weeks from now, right? Than in his 10th NFL start than he was in his 3rd. And I think that's the question on which the Vikings season rests, because right now, 140 passing yards, he makes some great plays in this game. The throw that puts the game away at the end to Addison is a throw. I mean, most teams in that situation are going to run and punt. Right, and they ask him to make that throw, a back shoulder, and he makes it. There's stuff there. There's no question about it. We don't have enough information on J.J. McCarthy to be able to forecast the rest of the Vikings season, and I think it could go a number of different ways.
2 out of 3 wins, bro. At the end, he was a bit of a dude.
And I think that's the part that Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings get excited. When you watch him throughout this game, to Dominique's point, and you look at the stats, they don't blow you away. But there's opportunities within that game where the Lions are bringing a blitz and he checks them into another play. It's the small things that he does to be in his 3rd game, essentially as a rookie, that you get excited about.
He's won 2 games, both in the division, both on the road. Let me give you one more thing. Our next stop, Kansas City, and we've got sneaky big news.
After being out with an ankle injury since week 2, spending some time to get his mind right, which signed to Jordan Addison. Very next play from the 7, and McCarthy fakes it to Justin Jefferson, rolls, clean pocket, wide open man is T.J. Hawkinson. Vikings lead 14-7. Early second, Jared Goff avoids the sack and finds David Montgomery. Another look at how Goff is somehow able to shake off Jonathan Grenard, sort of slides off his shoulder. Later in the drive on 4th and 1, we know Coach Campbell is definitely going to roll the dice and go for it. Montgomery plows his way in. 14-14 game. A little over 5 to go before halftime on 3rd and 9. McCarthy somersaults here as he is sacked. But they're still in field goal range, and Minnesota would get that field goal and led by 3 at the break. Middle of the 3rd, Lions backed up in the shadow of their own goal line, but here Montgomery's got it, and then ball is punched out by Blake Cashman. We see this on a weekly basis multiple times. Harrison Smith able to take his time, recover it, and the Vikings cash that turnover as McCarthy buys time, makes one man miss, and then sprints to the pylon. It's a 10-point lead. Ensuing Lions drive. Goff bowled under there by Eric Wilson, who fights through Jahmyr Gibbs. Lions settle for a field goal, so it's a 1-score game again. But Minnesota played from in front all game long, always able to keep this Lions team at bay. Big part of the reason why, the pass rush. Galen Redmond gets home. 5 sacks on the game. Lions attempt a field goal here because it's 4th and 23, and it's blocked by Levi Drake Rodriguez. Isaiah Rodgers, give Bates credit as he's in pursuit and prevents it from being a touchdown. O'Connell and the Vikes thrilled. They get a field goal. They lead by 10. But you're never quite comfortable against this Lions team for that very reason. In a blink of an eye, they can get in. That's Jamison Williams. They initially said down short. That was not correct. It's a 3-point game. It's going to come down to, can Detroit get a stop? McCarthy, a beautiful ball to Jalen Naylor. And that means Minnesota can salt away a hard-fought and big-time victory. Here's Kevin O'Connell celebrating with his guys after the victory.
We are 2-0 in the NFC North. And in both games, I finished handing the football. All right, the last game ball to this guy. It's been a long road back. Nobody wants to be on the grass more than you. But this team will ride with you. All right, ride with you.
Like a dog in the street.
Emotional day from top to bottom from J.J. McCarthy. You see that in the locker room, but then after a little time to let it sink in, he shared some different emotions.
It was awesome. Yeah, just when you're hurt, being on IR last year and being out for 5 weeks, it absolutely kills me not being out there with those guys because I love every single one of them. And, I know they got my back and I got theirs the rest of the way.
You watch the show, I'm a fan of those types of emotions. The emotions for McCarthy are obvious and evident. His presence, an obvious, significant element in this game. So, too, is something that wasn't subtle, and we showed it in this highlight. The ability of Minnesota's defense to get home. How did it impact the result?
Well, it was a huge impact. I think the biggest thing when you watch Minnesota play defense is they play hard. And they fly to the football. You can't always say that about every team in the NFL. Here's a good example of a play where it's like the ball ends up outside the numbers, behind the line of scrimmage. Scott, just look at the bodies that get to the football. There's a lot of white and purple showing up outside the numbers to make a play. The very next play is the play you showed in the highlight, which is Blake Cap, double A gap pressure, create problems. Well, here it is. This was a highlight as well. Eric Wilson on Jahmyr Gibbs. Listen, covering Jahmyr Gibbs in space is a problem. Having him, run the football is a problem. But making him block in the A gap, now it's on your terms. And so I think that they had a good plan. They did a good job of playing hard and running to the football. And I think that you've got to give, for much as we talk about head coaches and what they're doing, what Brian Flores has done with that defense has been impressive.
It's a problem for Gibbs. Him in space, a problem, but when he's going to have to block a bigger man, that's advantage bigger man. We always fight the temptation, don't overreact. Small snapshot of results. But this was a day that kind of invites us to take a look in total at the North, with the bottom teams winning and the top teams losing, and ask this snapshot of what you see in a really good top-to-bottom division. What do you think when you look at it?
Well, I would tell you, prior to the season starting, I was like, well, listen, it's going to be Green Bay and Detroit right there. I mean, that's what I felt like, right? New quarterback in Minnesota, all of that stuff. Here we are, 9 weeks in, or now going into 10 weeks. It's wide open. It's wide open. And I mean that because if McCarthy plays at a high level, well, now Minnesota's a real contender. You look at Green Bay, potentially loses Kraft, to a long-term injury. That's a massive problem. We saw what Caleb Williams is doing. Does he continue to play well? Are they a tough out? So, yeah, look, I think when you look at it right now and you say the difference of teams, maybe not that much in terms of, whether you're going to beat somebody or whether you're going to lose on your home field or on the road. I think you could say that for every single team in the NFC North right now.
Yeah, I think the difference between the top and the bottom in that is the skinniest. Green Bay's got 5 division games left. And because of the Daniels injury, we didn't really get a chance to talk about a guy that was in this division last year. Just give me 20 seconds on Sam Darnold tonight. Our producer's probably pissed at me because we don't have the supporting video. But what Darnold did tonight, his first half was outrageous, and they're as good as anyone in the NFC right now.
Yeah, and he's a really good player. He's in a system that fits him extremely.
Yeah, so trade deadline's November 4th, so we're closely approaching that. Ethan Posich, the center out of Cleveland, is in the final year of his deal. And look, Ryan Kelly has not been able to stay healthy because of concussions, and they were down to the third center last night. And Carson Wentz can attest that the third center was playing because he was struggling from start to finish. Ethan Posich is a solid player. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, the GM in Minnesota, knows him because he was in Cleveland when Posich was there. And that could be a short-term solution to a problem if Ryan Kelly isn't able to bounce back from the concussions as quickly as possible, or it's just backup insurance in case Kelly goes down again. Because, look, there are only 53 roster spots, but you can never have enough offensive linemen to protect a quarterback, whoever it is. And Carson Wentz and his left shoulder can affirm that last night was tough sledding for 60 minutes of football for him.
Yeah, not just center. You propose another trade on the offensive line, making sense, of course, since Wentz was sacked 5 times last night. Can't mention that enough. How about Bears tackle Braxton Jones? Why do you think the Vikings need help from him here?
Yeah, he's not playing a lot because he lost his job to a rookie undrafted free agent. The other thing is he has started in recent years. He has battled injuries, which is sort of a recurring theme when we talk about the offensive line in Minnesota. Christian Darrisaw had the ACL last season, came back, only played 9 snaps last night. Right tackle Brian O'Neill had to leave the game with a reoccurring knee injury. So Braxton Jones, again, we're talking about depth and guys that can fill in case of emergency. Braxton Jones provides that when he's healthy. He played at a pretty high level the last few years for the Chicago Bears. Just lost his job this year, and sometimes we have the conversation, Emily, about maybe a change of scenery can help a player find out who he was previously. Hope ain't a plan, but you're hoping that guys like Braxton Jones can make his way to a new destination and play at a high level if they need him to, because things are dire along that offensive line for the Vikings. And again, we keep saying it. Last night was full proof of how bad things are when guys are injured and you can't protect your quarterback.
I'm curious, when it is that obvious, something that we all watched in primetime on Thursday Night Football, that they need help on that offensive line, how does that affect maybe their leverage when they're making some of those phone calls to bring in offensive linemen?
I'm smirking, Emily, because I've had this conversation with Rick Spielman, the former Vikings GM, when Teddy Bridgewater got hurt back his second or third season in August, and they lost him for the year, and they desperately needed a quarterback. Guess who knew that? Everyone in the NFL. So when Rick called Howie Roseman in Philadelphia to inquire about Sam Bradford, Howie said, yes, you can have him for a first-round pick. And Rick's like, I don't have a choice. We need a quarterback. They traded a first-round pick for Sam Bradford. Had a really good season that year, but you are over a barrel. You do not have very much in the way of options, and the teams that you're calling clearly know that because they saw the same game on Thursday night that you and I watched.
Yeah, and it wasn't just on Thursday night, Ryan. I mean, they have 28 sacks they've given up, which is 30th in the NFL, behind just the Titans and the Jets, which is not where you want to be associated with. But it's not just the offensive line. They could use some help on the defensive side of the ball. The Bengals linebacker Logan Wilson is somebody who has already outwardly requested a trade. Why do you think the Vikings are a good fit for him? Where do you see their likelihood of potentially landing him, at least picking up a linebacker wherever they can find it?
Yeah, no, that's right. And the thing is, the Dolphins, you would imagine, are going to be answering every single phone call because their season certainly feels lost at this point. Bradley Chubb would give them some juice off the edge in Minnesota. Dallas Turner, the former first-round pick, continues not to be the guy that they'd hoped they'd gotten, and he can certainly get there. He's still young. We just haven't seen it. He and Jonathan Grenard have 2 sacks each as edge rushers. The leading sacker is Jalen Richmond, who has 3 sacks, and he plays defensive line. So you have to find a way to get pressure, and you can't always do it blitzing 5 and 6 guys, which we've seen Brian Flores have success with, but it's been less successful this year than in previous years. And I think if you can get home with 4 edge rushers, that helps the linebackers in the secondary, and Bradley Chubb can get you there. But again, I mean, you can't use every single draft pick to meet these trade deadline demands. You got to figure it out with some of the players you have. But these could be 2 or 3 options, maybe, Emily, that you think about as the deadline approaches here on November 4th.
Yeah, it's not over yet for the Vikings, but they could certainly use some help on both sides of the ball. Ryan Wilson helping us out with some